Yes, Reds. It's West Ham 0, Liverpool 2. You didn't think we'd say that for a while, would you? It feels so weird to say that out loud. We've kept a clean sheet. Liverpool have scored 2. Alexander Isak has got his goal. How do we do that? Well, the main man on my left to break it down with me. I was going to say Gene at that point, but no, it's not him. It's Asim. You know who it is.
He's a. I'll keep it clean. He's a deed off.
Yeah, deed off. Asim, we've just done the fan cam. Just quickly, how are you feeling?
I'm happy. I think relief is the best word to use.
Exactly.
Relief. We're all relieved tonight, and I'm looking up, and it's Chelsea 0, Arsenal 0. I don't really care about the result because Liverpool have won.
Yeah,
Liverpool have won, and this feeling we've missed, and a few changes, and how we bought about those changes, and what happened, and how Liverpool looked. I'm sure we'll get into it. And I thought, you know what, I like doing tactical shows because whatever we see during the game, normally. I like to watch the game again, start clipping a few graphics. But you know what? I want content to go out there as quickly as possible. So, yeah, forgive us if we don't have the stats and the graphics to back up the things that we've just seen off the watch along. But you know what? The main thing is to get that content out as quickly as possible. And let's be honest, we trust our first instincts.
Absolutely.
Is what we see. And trust is a big thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Asim, for weeks now, we've been calling out for Arne Slot to make changes, to make tweaks, to improve on the performances, to have the balls and have the guts to make the big and the bold decisions. So let's start straight off. One of the big and bold decisions today was to bench Mohamed Salah.
It was.
How did that explain to us how he made that work today?
Look. The thing is, when we bought Florian Wirtz, and we don't want to go into too much detail, is how do you get the number 10 to be the focal point? Mm-hmm. Let's be honest, in the summer, when Arne Slot had those PowerPoint presentations with Florian Wirtz, he was talking about Florian Wirtz in this position. We didn't see Florian Wirtz in that position. We didn't see Florian Wirtz in there. We didn't see Florian Wirtz in there. Now, in different parts of the game, he has covered those. He's covered that position. He's covered that position. And that just shows you the imbalance of the team and the lack of planning and the lack of environment. Mm-hmm. That is the main thing. When you want your big £116 million signing from Germany to be the focal point, and how do you integrate those great players, especially the King? And that is the biggest problem. And he still hasn't worked it out, because I believe Mohamed Salah will still start in this position come Sunday. And I believe Liverpool still need, let wingers be wingers. And this is the reason why I didn't like Florian Wirtz starting on the left-hand side. The only time I liked it is when Liverpool need to do that. Let the fullback go higher, and you want your left winger to occupy those places and be the extra man in midfield, and you want to create a box midfield with the left winger coming inside. That is the only time where we did it against City away last season. We did it against a few of the teams, Aston Villa away. When you don't have the physicality and the legs in midfield as a collective, what you do is you try to engineer more control into the game as well. Mm-hmm. And the lack of a natural six sort of emphasizes or encourages that as well. So I can understand that. Against West Ham, Junior, when that team makes it really, really easy for us, in inverted commas, where they're not aggressively pressing, they made it into an environment where you needed a number 10 to come and roam around and have that freedom to connect and let the game flow and construct an attack. So that's why the reasons why you saw Florian Wirtz in these positions, Florian Wirtz in these positions, and Florian Wirtz in these positions. So that is the thing that he made. But when you're facing more of an aggressive press, then it gets a bit more difficult. But you also, when you're facing a really rigid and higher quality of defenders, then I believe you need a winger on the right hand side. But today it worked because you had stability, you had security through Joe Gomez, and then you had Dominic Szoboszlai come in here, holding width and providing the deep progression from here. So if Gravenberg moved here, Dominic Szoboszlai could pick that pass out, and if Florian Wirtz was roaming around here, we had that deep progression from Dominic Szoboszlai. And Dominic Szoboszlai, to be fair to him, has been providing that deep progression from various positions. So this is the thing that it worked today, is if we were going to make Florian Wirtz the focal point and connect with the number 9, we had Dominic Szoboszlai, one, to hold width, because naturally Joe Gomez is not that right back.
Yeah.
And then if we wanted to stay compact in the 4-4-2, and this is the reason why I have a problem with Liverpool and the 4-2-4. If Wirtz is the second striker off the ball, then you've got the perfect player to just sit back in a 4-4-2. And this is the reason why we saw Dominic Szoboszlai really compact and really close to the midfield, on and off the ball.
Yep.
If he needed to hold width, he can. And he can do this as well. If Joe Gomez was high, he can be a number 10 as well. So the legs of Dominic Szoboszlai, the deep progression of Dominic Szoboszlai made everything possible. Why? Is because he's got the legs to be in the right space at the right time. But it was a good template for today. Off the ball, compact 4-4-2. You've got the right back providing the security, and then you've got the number 10 being the connector. And that's why it worked.
You've touched upon it already. Let's focus a bit more on the right hand side dynamic today. What was going on there today for you? What did you like about today? Or what has worked today that hasn't worked before?
I was a bit surprised how high our fullbacks were, generally speaking, because I thought what we're going to see is the 4-2, where Liverpool's pivot is really close to the centre backs, providing them the connections. And then the fullbacks are involved. This is what Liverpool did a lot, especially on the big day. But because West Ham, sort of sat off us, Liverpool created the 2-2 and let, Szoboszlai here, Wirtz roaming around, and Isak in the number 9 position, and either letting these guys go, and we saw the 2-2 build up, and there's an option out wide as well. You saw Wirtz come in here. You saw Dominic Szoboszlai here, just to make sure Liverpool have always got the spare man. And we found the pockets today. We found the pockets. And how many times did you see, Florian Wirtz come here and connect with McAllister? That was a feature. Connect with McAllister, and the ball went out to Cody Gakpo. How many times did you see Liverpool try to create an outlet or an isolation for Cody Gakpo to run at the right back in Wan-Bissaka? And I thought, although he got an assist, and I don't want to criticise Cody Gakpo, I've done that enough over the last 12 months, but we created a lot of situations, and even on this side as well, with Joe Gomez going high and trying to cross the ball, and that's only going to get be a facilitating type of role for Isak, because if you want Isak to be involved in the game, you need crosses. And Joe Gomez was in the right position. But look, I'm going to caveat, and I'm not going to try to hype up the situation. Liverpool were good today. Liverpool had a good foundation for their number 10 to connect with the midfield and be the spare man. And he allowed, but what I was going to say is, I think West Ham provided us the perfect foil for some players to excel. They made it easier.
Yeah.
They made it easier, and I'm surprised, and I shouldn't be surprised in a way as well, where it's Nuno's team, where they sat off us. But that is the main point. And you ask about the right hand side, but the reason why I like Liverpool's fluidity as well, the 2-2 build up, but it was also a 3-1-6 as well. So if Gomez went, Kirkez was a bit deeper. You've got Ryan Gravenberg, and you've got your 2-10s, and this was Liverpool's build up as well. And you've got your 2-10s as well. So your Dominic Szoboszlai was who's this? Gomez was holding width. Gakpo out wide, and you've got your 2-10s. So McAllister was a bit higher, and Wirtz was here. But the best thing about here was Florian Wirtz was the positionless number 10. And I go back to the plan.
That's something you mentioned before. I like it, the positionless number 10.
And that is the only way, especially against the low block, where you're going to make him the focal point.
Yeah.
and you're going to have him to impact the game because it creates confusion. And how many times did we see that either the centre-back or Mangasa, especially in midfield, follow him? But because he's got so much environment and he's got so much protection with Dominic Szoboszlai holding width, Dominic Szoboszlai coming into midfield and counter-pressing from the front and from behind, and Dominic Szoboszlai being in these positions as well, is even Joe Gomez is high. So if you've got him being the focal point on the ball and letting him roam and give him the freedom, but also the protection. And that is the $1 million question that Liverpool and Arne Slot need to work out. How do you give him the freedom when your game and everything is still going through Salah?
Yeah.
Because for me, I don't see a fix. I really don't. I mean, especially with Cody Gakpo on the other side.
That was going to be my next question. It's been a question that the fans have asked on Twitter, they've asked in all sorts of spaces. It's that perennial issue. Asim, can Mohamed Salah and Wirtz work in the same team? Because today, right, we got a glimpse, and I don't know if you agree, we got a glimpse of the future without Mohamed Salah.
We did.
Now, you can say the short-term future when he goes to AFCON, but the long-term future as well.
I think the long-term future, if you want a future without Mohamed Salah, you have to have an environment and two wingers who have got an appetite to defend. Cody Gakpo was in these areas today. I liked it. But can he do it for a season? I don't think so. Is it natural to him? Has he got the natural appetite to defend? Although he's a bit better at it. Is he Luis Diaz? No. Is he Sadio Mane? Far from it. But I don't expect him to be. But I think Liverpool have to improve in those areas, because on the big day, Junior, is your wingers need to be wingers. And although we talk about this right side dynamic and it worked and it provided the focal point, but how many times did the ball go out to, especially Dominic Szoboszlai and Cody Gakpo, is your wingers need to be wingers. And to break down defences, really good defences, that is probably the one and only place where you get a bit of space. And those duels and creating isolation and separation with fullbacks is what's going to win you leagues. So you have to have comfortable wingers going inside, scoring the goal, and going outside and making sure this lad, the main big man up front, gets a plenty of service as well. But how can it work? The only way it can work is you get rid of the trade-off. So you've got Florian Wirtz and Isak. But then where does Dominic Szoboszlai play? The only place for Dominic Szoboszlai is Ryan Gravenberch here and Dominic Szoboszlai here. So you've got that. Florian Wirtz and Isak off the ball, Cody Gakpo, Mohamed Salah. And at the moment, it's that. And we don't go man-to-man. Because we don't, and I won't put the other pieces as well. That's supposed to be the ball. At the moment, that is our off the ball. And if Salah is in no man's land, this space, and this is the reason why Dominic Szoboszlai has been in the number 10 after 4 or 5 games, is because Wirtz can't do that as well as Dominic Szoboszlai. That is the crux of the problem. And when he's doing a lot of this, and because he's positionless, because he's got natural tendencies to feel the ball, and he's here, look what happens. And then it's all up to Ryan Gravenberch to go here. And if you're playing the 4-2-4, look what happens to the midfield. Space is vacated because Liverpool tried to sit in a 4-2-4, and you probably can argue is Wirtz and Isak and Gakpo and Salah. There's no natural appetite to press. So Liverpool don't even have the press, the personnel to press. Let's be honest, at least last year, we had the appetite from Luis Diaz. We had Nunes or Jota or Diaz up top as well, and Szoboszlai in the number 10 in position. So we were forcing high turnovers. Liverpool don't win high turnovers. And the other reason why is teams just go along and win the second ball and turn our defence and team over that way. So if we're not going to win the ball high up, then this is what I've been crying out for. If you're going to play Salah, to go back to your question, and Wirtz in the same team, then I think you can't have a space for McAllister in midfield. If you're going to play Gakpo out wide, if you're going to play Isak and Wirtz from the number 10 position, then you have to have the two in midfield with legs. Curtis Jones might say, I deserve a place in the team, but I don't think he gets ahead of Ryan Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai. I would only have Curtis Jones in that midfield is if you probably want to engineer a bit more control. Ryan Gravenberch doesn't give you the control that Curtis Jones gives. Ryan Gravenberch gives you more press resistance and the more fluidity. Why? Is because if you're playing with 2 or 3, if Florian Wirtz is coming in midfield, there's a bit more fluidity and less predictability with Dominic Szoboszlai and Ryan Gravenberch. Because what Curtis Jones wants to do, generally speaking, is come here and let the left back go higher. And that gives us a different dynamic. It relieves a bit of pressure as well. What Ryan Gravenberch can do, if even Dominic Szoboszlai is picking up the ball deeper, because we don't have Trent this season, you've got the natural deep progression from here. And that is what Dominic Szoboszlai and Ryan Gravenberch gives you. And the beauty about Ryan Gravenberch is if that pass is going from Dominic Szoboszlai to Ryan Gravenberch, he's one of the best players in the world on the half turn. And when he turns on the half turn, the game opens up. So just to summarise, is what Arne Slot needs to do if he wants to fit Salah and Wirtz into the team is you drop the Salah trade-off and you say to him, you know what, you have to do a bit more defending because I want this lad to be the focal point as well. Yeah. Because in the long run, he'll provide you a lot of balls. When our confidence goes up, he'll provide you plenty of balls through the pockets, through the channels. And when he becomes a focal point as well in the team and our off-the-ball structure is a lot better, then teams will start paying a lot more attention to Florian Wirtz, as we saw in the second half today. And who's going to benefit from that is the likes of Mohamed Salah and the likes of Isak and the likes of Cody Gakpo. So we need to provide him the environment, the foundation. How he's going to get him into the team, I think he needs to get rid of some of his principles from last year. Drop down 5-10 yards, concede a bit of possession, build from a really good base and go from there.
A long, detailed answer to that question. If you're not happy about that, then I don't know what you would be happy with. Asim, it worked today. It clearly worked today. Do you see Liverpool doing this on a week-to-week basis?
I touched on it a bit just in my previous monologue, Junior. Let me just set up the 4-2-3-1 again. I've gone at 5 at the back. How dare I? Liverpool cannot play in a 5. What was the question? Can it work
Can this work on a week-to-week basis?
In an away game, if your right back is not going high and wide, even though he did, I've just said, I'm surprised how much he did it. Probably the reason why, because of how much West Ham sat off us and gave us the ball. I think there was one graphic in the first or second half for the last 10-15 minutes of that game. At that point, Liverpool had 85% of the ball. Yeah. So I think Joe Gomez had no choice as well but to go there. And this is the reason why we saw the 2-2 and the 3-1-6, is because even though they sat off in a 4-5-1 or a 4-4-2, Paqueta off the main striker, Liverpool wanted to create overloads in the last line. But can it work? In an away game, it works better. Against better defences, I think you need a bit more quality on the right-hand side. That is the only thing. But at the moment, it might be a short-term fix where we've got stability in the right-back area, security as well. He doesn't mind if the number 6 goes or the number 8 goes, going in those positions and trying to create the box midfield. He can invert. He's not a Trent. He's not a Guardiola. He's not a Calafiori, but Joe Gomez can do good things, but probably 7 or 8 out of 10. Maybe 8's a bit pushing it, but he can do a lot of things with sort of 7 out of 10 quality. And that's what makes him versatile and really appealing. The only problem Joe Gomez has as a profile of a player is bloody fitness. That's the only thing. But whatever we're giving him, we need to keep on giving him. Keep injecting, making holes in his knee. And if it sort of stands up all season. And the problem with Joe Gomez, he can't play 3 games in 10 days. But after January, where it sort of fixture list gets a bit better, I think he can can work. And this is the reason why I wanted Gehi, because it was a similar concept today where I know the two fullbacks were a bit higher because of the way West Ham, how deep they were. But the concept, I thought if you're going to come up with a bit more attacking team off the ball than West Ham, I think you would have seen Joe Gomez a bit deeper, and you would have had McAllister in here and the 3-2 build up with Kirkes. So, what was the question again?
Can you see that Liverpool doing this on a week-to-week basis? Which you said it can't, can it?
I think if you want protection, and the thing is, if you're going to play Salah week in, week out as well, because you want wide isolation and wide separation better, I think that is the only way, because you have to, something has to give.
Yeah.
You can't have Salah, even if we just said he's going to get rid of his trade-off, and then have Wirtz in the number 10. Something has to give. And then if you have a Bradley or Frimpong, who natural tendencies is to do that, something has to give. And then Kirkes over there as well. So this is the reason why I wanted Gehi. And I think, look, can it work? Of course it can. Is it perfect? No. But what does it provide protection for Salah and Wirtz? Yes. And then you've got Dominic Szoboszlai from this position as well. So I think it can work, but it's all up to Joe Gomez, let's be honest. And get to January, get Gehi, so you can do a bit more of this as well, because it provides the protection to Salah, it provides protection to the number 10, and it provides license to the left back on the other side as well. And Gehi, although, just to give you what I want to see a lot more of, is if Gehi comes in on the paper 4-2-3-1, if that is Gehi on paper, then we can say to Gehi, you stay. Verge can be the middle centre back. Bradley or Frimpong can play here. Salah can play here, but slightly on the inside if he has to. And then you've got Kirkes a lot higher. Gehi, Kirkes is not playing. And I'll explain why that is the case. Is because you've got Kanate, you've got Verge, you've got Gehi, you've got McAllister and Gravenberch, Wirtz, and how does it work? This is the reason why we need players on the thingy. You got Szoboszlai here. You've got Gravenberch, you've got Wirtz, and then you've got Salah slightly inside, your number 9, and you've got Cody Gakpo out wide as well. This is the 3-2 build-up. Some people say, why don't you play Gehi on the right-hand side? The reason why I don't like Gehi on the right-hand side on paper is because it means, if this is Gehi, and then this is Kanate. And I don't like Kanate as the middle centre-back, and I don't like Virgil van Dijk going into those areas and trying to cover the higher left-back. So that is the problem. The 3-2 build-up with Gehi from left-back works a lot better, and it's the natural position that he's playing for with Crystal Palace as well. So that is the profile of player that we're talking about. Joe Gomez can do it from the right-hand side. He can do it from the left-hand side as well. So can it work? Yes. Can I see it working week in, week out because of the personnel? No. The only reason why it breaks down is because the fitness issues of Joe Gomez, and that's why you need more profiles like him. And I hope we get Gehi in January.
Cool. Right. Final question, Asim. Final question, and it's the big one for me. Alexander Isak.
Yeah.
It worked for him today. He's got his goal. What about today's system supported him?
Connection.
Okay.
Connection. And what I liked about from that position there, the positionless number 10, the Wirtz in Wonderland, because he had the license, and even though he came here, and he came here, and he came here, use the connector. And when you connect, you've got sort of natural triangles developing. If Isak was here, Wirtz was here connecting, and the ball went out to Gakpo, and he did his thing. I would like that left winger to do better, because I think Liverpool's still final third execution needs to be better. How do you get that execution better? It comes with a bit of confidence, but also with better wingers. And I think Liverpool lack the natural 1v1 quality. Salah for different reasons, and Cody for different reasons as well. He has great output. I think he's level with Salah this season, and in terms of assists, he's still up there as well. I think he's got an assist today, which makes him the most assists. So you can't knock his output even in a bad season. But I think because of the amount of situations we create for him, you want someone better to go on the outside, to cross the ball, and he doesn't do that well enough, and he doesn't do connection with the left back as well, providing the underlap and the overlap as well, as we've seen this season. Whatever he thinks he's going to do, he does it straight away. And all that, although sometimes it's a fine line between having the clarity in your mind and doing it and executing it, or just becoming too predictable. And I think that's what he becomes a bit too predictable, because he just cannot go on the outside. And that's the reason why, Junior, we're getting linked with Semenyo. So that is one reason where we need to make sure we invest in. Because why? Is because then we're not too reliant upon the number 10 connecting with the number 9. So we have to get used to sometimes Isak not getting involved in the play. We're too used to seeing Bobby over the years connecting and being the false 9 and the number 10 effectively coming in midfield and connecting play. Because one of the reasons why he looked so good at it, or it warranted the situation, is because you had Sadio and Salah doing that, and we had the 3 flat midfield, and then he could connect. He could be the number 10 effectively. But the big question is, how do you do it? How do you do it on a week-to-week basis? And the reason why it worked today is because of Wirtz was a big factor. When he was starting in that position, how many times did I say, Isak needs to run the channel. Isak needs to run the channel. But with what he had, the appetite and the what's the word? The legs of Florian Wirtz to start from that position, from the left half space, and make that ball run there. And we saw it because the ball came from Joe Gomez. And although that ball doesn't come often enough for Liverpool, is because we don't have that deep progression. But when you've got Dominic Szoboszlai from a deeper role, then the number 10 can go and stretch the opposition. And we saw one Liverpool, I think it was in the second half, where he made a run from here, and the number 9 was here, and it was a brilliant tackle from one of the defenders. So I think he had a number 10 willing to do that. And you're probably thinking, why doesn't, it's Dominic Szoboszlai can do that. 100%. But I think this is the reason why. I think sometimes we don't have that player who can make that ball. Yeah. Frimpong doesn't have that ball. I saw Bradley have that ball against Real Madrid, and then I never saw it again. But one of the reasons why the number 10 doesn't make that run is because he knows you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
There's no willingness to make that ball. And I would say there's no skill set to make that ball on a consistent basis. But that is one of the reasons why is Isak looked a bit more involved today, is because we had willing runners and we had the connector. That is the big word. Your number 9 is going to be involved in a game if we're constructing attacks and someone is linking the back line to the midfield. And if in Florian Wirtz, if he's your focal point, automatically the number 9 is going to be more involved. And we saw a graphic, and I think 4 times, up until that point, whether it was first half or second half, it was 4 passes from Florian Wirtz to Isak. And the highest that happened in this season was 3 passes. And he beat that record within, I don't know when that graphic came up, whether it's 30 minutes, 50 minutes, it doesn't really, it's not relevant. The point is that the number 10 and number 9 were connecting. And let's just not forget who made that little clever pass into the box for Isak's goal. So those are the places that we need Isak and Wirtz to occupy in, and long may it continue.
Brilliant. Any final thoughts? Anything that you noticed where we could improve just a little bit more?
Look, the bigger tests will come. The bigger tests will come, bigger and better and more quality and stronger, physically stronger sides. Because what Sunderland, I need to see exactly how they're defending, but they will say, okay, where are you gonna? And they're especially at Anfield, where in theory teams are gonna, because it doesn't matter how deep West Ham were, I don't think they're gonna be deep or as well. Sunderland are gonna be deeper because they're Anfield.
Yeah, exactly.
You just naturally drop 5-10 yards. But the thing is, they'll have a counter attack. They'll have an outlet. They'll have a longer throw, a better set piece, as we saw, and they'll have numbers overloading the box when they get the opportunity as well. So they're a bigger and stronger side than West Ham. So that is one thing that I would like to Liverpool to improve on. When the number 10 comes and connects with the two in midfield, and the ball goes out there to Cody Gakpo and Dominic Szoboszlai, if we're going to keep the same team, then I think Liverpool's wide separation, wide duels, wide situations need to improve, is because we're going to be facing a deeper block on Wednesday night. So that is one area of improvement. Whether you improve it with Salah, you'll have to change a few things that we talked about earlier. But bigger and tougher tests. What I want to say is this is one of the reasons why, when I talk about the positionless number 10, is why I said this is the big reason why I don't like Florian Wirtz on paper starting on the left-hand side. And I touched on it on those occasions where I like it, where we need to engineer a bit more control. So without going in further detail, because we've covered it before, is because we provided him the focal point. We gave him the keys. That is the term that I wanted to use. Yeah. We gave him the keys to Wirtz in Wonderland, and he proved that he's a good footballer. He's a connector. He's also got a bit of not a bit, but compared to like a Maddison, for example, he's got a lot more legs. So if you make him the focal point, he just tells you and shows you and proves to you how much of a good footballer he is. So number 10, he's a number 10 junior, but we just need to give him the environment and the foundation. And with Salah in the team, I believe we can, but we just need to change a few things as well. But today, it was a brilliant template to get the 3 points, and we made sure we did it.
Brilliant. I think that's a good place to end. I could have asked so many more questions, but I think Florian Wirtz was the focal point. Wirtz in Wonderland, that's probably the best way to end. Right, guys, that's been the Tactics Show. Do all the good stuff. Like and subscribe. Click on the bell below. Thank you to Asim. Thank you to Lambu. And we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.